Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Can you see us? Can you hear us? Are you there? Give us a wave. Tell us where you're joining us from.
Yes.
Let's see who is going to be joining us today to talk about quick fixes for reactive dogs.
So, Julia, the fireworks, are they still going on or were they just the one day?
Well, it's one of those, isn't it? It theoretically is one day. However, in reality, it goes on for 2, 3 weeks. So we
What?
had probably the worst night was Saturday, just gone, followed by last night, which was the real night, and then there'll be more this weekend. Right. Hi,
Wow.
Barrett. How are you? Hope you are super duper well. Anybody else going to say hello? Because we like saying hello, makes us happy.
Sorry, my sound is.
Anybody else? Have you got us talking to you in the background there, Barbara?
Well, I just found us, so I can follow along with the comments, right?
Ah, perfect.
So I just asked Julia what the fireworks situation is in her area. So if you're also in the UK and you also struggle with this weird Guy Fawkes thing, or what is it, bonfire night, right?
Yes, usually
Anyway,
called just bonfire night.
are fireworks currently a problem where you are? Then put a rocket in the chat, shall you?
Great idea. I should do that actually.
We
Could
don't have
find a rocket. I
one.
like to keep me on my toes. Hi, Marion. Hi, LJ. Who else have we
Hello,
got?
Camilla. Oh, LJ, yay.
Alison.
Welcome. Great.
Carmela. Lovely to see anybody.
No, but I don't see any rockets, so you guys are
No,
all pretty
I
good.
don't think people are. Most people are from these parts.
Okay, so you guys, where you joining in from? Hi,
Oh, Carla
Iris.
says she's got them, but the dogs are fine. Yeah, I wish
Okay,
Mama
good.
Hattie was very upset. Um, Kay, hi, nice to see you. Oh, Alison's in the rocket camp.
Oh,
Um,
I'm
I was just
sorry.
saying, I did some of the social media for next week today, so I was writing all about the experience from yesterday in there, mainly
Okay,
about
don't give anything away.
judgy people on Facebook going, "It's all your fault. You should have trained
Oh,
your
Jess had
dog."
a meltdown. I'm sorry, Alison.
Oh God, it's horrible,
Hey,
isn't it?
Pat. Canada. Yay, best country in the world.
Whereabouts in Canada are you? I like just knowing where I sort of visualize
Yeah,
where
where
people
everybody is
are.
from. Oh, where they're
I
tuning
know.
in from. It is nice to know.
Iris is here, which
Oh.
is lovely.
Ah, Calgary.
Calgary, fabulous.
Mm,
I
near the
used to, I don't know if I
rocks.
said before, years and years ago, I did some work for the Canadian High Commission in London. Um, so I kind of learned a little bit about where everything was and, different places that you don't necessarily hear about. It's so much fun. Too much fun. Anyway, there we go. We'll come back to
Right.
fireworks in
Anyway,
a bit, won't we?
yes, we will. So, today is, we have a good topic today, hey?
We certainly do.
We're going to talk about quick fixes for dog reactivity.
Yes, we are. And as some of you,
I know LG was very doubtful about this.
I know, and for very good reason.
What? What? Are you telling me there aren't any good quick
I
fixes?
Well, it all depends how we define quick and how we define fixed, Barbara. So that's probably what we need to talk about, isn't it?
I
Because that's the
have
whole
my
problem
magic
with it,
wand
isn't
right
it?
here. Woo!
Yeah.
Actually, my magic ruler.
Yeah, exactly. Wave your magic wand. Is there a magic wand? And everyone wants that, don't we? Of course we do. It's
Yeah, of
natural.
course.
You're so frustrated. You're so annoyed. It's been going on for however long and it's embarrassing and horrible. You want kind of to fix it now. So there's
Thanks, Andrea. Andrea says, I was going to say that you both pronounce Canadian place names properly, so that explains your awareness. Yes, got to be aware.
Sammy
And
says, I hope we
so,
get a change in regulation.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
100%. Could not
Artie's here
agree
from
more.
South
We had
Carolina.
We'll come back to the quick fixes in a second, but I've just got to tell you this that last night, because people always say, we have our fireworks because the children love it. There were people setting off fireworks at 20 to 10 last night. So, and it's school day. So that wasn't for the children. And they were like these madly loud ones. I've never heard them so loud in my entire life. They were horrific. There's literally no need to do it other than to just annoy people and try and wind people up. It's like, why are some people so horrible?
Yeah.
As we know,
Ah,
you Mars from Saskatoon in Saskatchewan.
yep.
Cool. So,
Okie dokes. Okay, so quick fixes. So surprise, surprise, there ain't no quick fix.
no.
And
Now, there are sometimes you kind of see, don't you, what appears to be a quick fix. Where it's like, oh, the dog's not reacting now, the dog's not pulling now, the dog's not doing this, that, and the other. When people are using perhaps some tools. So things like your e-collars or maybe your prongs or something like that. So my question, well, it's not really a question because I actually know the answer. So why is it, what's exactly happening with those dogs that look to be like fixed? And the
mm,
answer is suppression, isn't it?
yeah.
Because the behavior, like we always say, is just an expression of an emotion. So what happens when you use some sort of punishing type tool is it just suppresses the behavior. It does nothing about the emotion. That's still there, bubbling under, but not being allowed to be let out. So it might come out as some sort of explosion somewhere. Exactly, Carmela. You end up with learned helplessness. Um, so they just kind of learn there's no point me saying that I'm uncomfortable because nobody's going to listen,
Mm.
which is a bit of a nightmare. It's kind of like if somebody says to me, you can never ever have any chocolate ever again in your whole life, or else I'm going to punch you in the face. And what would happen at some point is I would go, okay, I'm not having the chocolate, I'm not having the chocolate, not having the chocolate. And then one day I go, do you know what? I'm going to take the punch in the face. I'm going to eat all the chocolate in one go and make myself really, really ill. So you kind of get this because that suppression, because you haven't dealt with the emotion that's meant I felt like I have to eat all the chocolate in the world. So the emotion is still there. It bubbles up, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you have this explosion. And that's
Mm.
why um, you know, research after research shows that by using these kind of punitive methods, actually in the long run will increase fear and aggression, etc.
So sad.
It's really sad and create a total mistrust, a lack of trust between person and owner. So I shall get back off my soapbox and we can carry on.
And she says she knew it, that there aren't any quick fixes.
Yay, I know
Right?
you're brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Amanda's in Campy Island. My sister
oh,
used to live
I'm
there.
glad that you said that because I would totally have mispronounced that one. Yeah, they shut down, says
It's horrible,
LG,
isn't
and
it?
Ed
Yeah.
agrees it's so sad for those dogs. And Alison says it's abusive, really. Emily,
Thank you,
your
Emily.
soapbox
I'm
is
glad you
good.
appreciate my soapbox. I get on
Yeah.
it quite a lot, as you might have noticed.
Yeah. I mean, look, you it also depends on the history, right? How long has this
Totally.
been going on? And how big was the event that triggered the initial reaction? So if you're dealing with a puppy or with a dog that sees something for the first time and gets a super fright, and if you realize what's going on and then handle it correctly in that minute and then address it afterwards, then yeah, then it doesn't have to take long. But life is messy, right?
Exactly.
And often we don't really notice that there's something going on until the reaction is so big that you can't overlook it. And that is not putting blame on anybody. That's just life, right?
Yeah.
We get distracted. I mean, how many times do I miss a potty accident because I'm kind of getting distracted at computer and I'm not paying attention to the
I'm not going
puppy
to
and the
tell
X pen,
everybody,
right?
God
And
will
it
help
just
them.
happens.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, by the time that or generally by the time that we're talking about reactivity, a dog is repeatedly overreacting to certain triggers and it's becoming a problem for people,
Mm.
right?
And it's that
And
rehearsal, isn't it? It's like
mm,
they become every single time they have a reaction, it becomes more ingrained that this is what I do when X happens, this is how I deal with it to try and make myself feel
mm,
better.
yeah.
And they become better at it and better at it and do it
Mm,
more and more. And even when you're trying to deal with it, you know, and that's what the other reason it's difficult, isn't it? Is that you're trying to do something about it. You're trying so hard to prevent those reactions, and then something sneaks in there, and your dog has a reaction. And that then, you've gone a step backwards then again because they've reinforced that that's how they behave again. And that happens to all of us. 100%
mm,
it happens to all of us. So again, that's extending, it makes the time scale more and more difficult for you.
mm. But it would be so nice, wouldn't it, to have a quick
I
fix?
so wish I could do something magical about it.
Oh no. If anybody ever hoped for a magic wand to fix the dog, put a what have we got there? There is a magician. Maybe a broomstick. Put a broomstick in the. Do you have a broomstick?
Yes.
Put a broomstick in the message. In the. Oh, I can't see where my emoticons are. This is not good. Oh
Mine
yeah.
are here somewhere. I just don't know how to search for them. That's my
Oh,
biggest issue.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, LJ is very relieved. Sigh of relief. She thought we were going to be having a discussion about this. You should know us better than that by now, LJ.
Yay, Mars got the broomsticks.
Oh, brilliant. I love the
Super.
broomsticks. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Me too.
Oh,
That was so cool.
Iris took them almost 4 months to realize we've been trained the wrong way, taken 2 years to undo the harm done.
Oh, oh.
Oh, it gets me here. And do you know, actually, Iris, I had a phone call no, it wasn't a phone call, it was an email from somebody today about my one-to-ones and with a rescue dog. And she put in her email that they would tried with another trainer who started off with just for lead pulling, actually, it wasn't even reactivity, a slip lead. That didn't work. So then they said, okay, well, we'll try a prong collar now, shall we? And luckily, she put her foot down and said, absolutely not. I'm going to go and find somewhere else. And it just happens so often. I just really felt she lives outside my normal catchment area, but I'm going to go and see her anyway because I wanted to help her because I felt really horrible for her that she'd had that experience. It's not nice. LJ wants a magic wand to fix her.
Yep, me too.
I think one to fix me would be far too tricky. I don't think there's enough magic in the world.
So we don't have magic wands. So how long does it then take? I mean, how long do we have to fly around on our broomsticks before we get the
Right, I'm just having a look to see if I have a piece of string so we can see how long it is because it is, isn't it? It's a how long is a piece of string question, that one, as to how long it's going to take because there are so many it depends involved, aren't
Mm,
there?
mm,
So it depends on the individual dog, like you said before, and where they've come from, where they are in their life experience, how much has led up to this point. There's you as an owner, and that's not to say that it's your fault because it isn't. But I know that for me, I can be naturally sometimes quite anxious. Whereas my husband is totally so laid back. He's virtually horizontal all the time. So for him, it would probably be easier than it was for me to get to where I needed to be. So there's that are individual differences as well. Um, Plus there's your management, you know. Some people have scenarios where management and preventing, being able to prevent the reactive behavior from happening is a lot easier than other people. Depending on what your setup is. If you've got a dog that reacts to the sound of another dog and you're in a house surrounded by other dogs, it's really blooming hard. So
Yeah.
that has to pay into it as well.
There's a good question in the chat that I
Oh,
just
lovely.
saw that speaks to this. Uh, Chris and Nikki, what would you do if you have an unconfident dog and the friendly dogs come over? He doesn't always react, but his ears down and runs to me. This seems like a win, but he wouldn't take food, so he was really stressed. I
Hmm.
walked on, then played. What would you do in the moment? Would you stay and chat to the owner so he could see it was okay, or get away as soon as possible?
This is a really interesting one. And I think if I'm entirely honest, the answers to what I would do in that scenario, and I do that actually, because I don't want unknown dogs to come into my dog space at all, without, knowing who they are and who the owner is first. And how I deal with that depends on, as I say, how I'm feeling. So with some people, who have, a dog like that, if I see a dog approaching I've spoken about Hattie before, and she doesn't like other dogs in her face. So she's manners misses. And I have no hesitation if I see the dog coming towards me of just saying, would you mind recalling your dog? I'd like my dogs to have some space, or they're not going to enjoy that experience, or they say he's not friendly. I've even said to some people that my dogs will bite them, even though they won't. I have said that because they won't listen to the polite, I need you to keep that dog away. But if you can do it in a nice, polite way, I find people are mostly really understanding. And then you have an understanding for the next time that you come across them. And there's quite a few people that I come across, and we kind of say hi and we smile, but we keep a distance, and they'll put their dog back on lead, to kind of help with that scenario.
Hmm.
So yeah, so sometimes I'm
And
probably a little bit sharper than others if I'm
yeah,
company.
yeah. I think the problem is if we walk our dogs in spaces that are off leash, I mean, we want to give our dogs off leash running. It's really good for them, right?
Absolutely,
And
yes.
if there is a chance of encountering other people and their dogs, then I I think it is really important to be able to recall the dog early, right? So whenever
100%.
there are other dogs approaching on the path or coming closer, whatever, to call, my dog over to me, to either walk closely with me or to put them on leash, and thereby setting a signal, right? My dog's now on lead, so please leash your dog. And if they don't, then we can speak. But if the dogs are loose and, my dog is sniffing the tree 10 meters away, and then another dog comes and also wants to sniff that tree, it's difficult then. So I think the first thing is to really work on a really good recall so you can have your dog close to you. And then that gives us a better right to go and say, like, please keep your dog over there. I mean, I
Absolutely.
was
Totally
the
agree.
other day, I was walking I had all the dogs in the car, but I had Stevie out at our lagoon, and she was on leash. I mean, I don't, there's a road and everything, and it is a leash area. It's lovely to walk, but it is a leash area, and we were playing, and a little bit of training and playing and training and playing. She's learning to walk on lead, in these public spaces, blah 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 blah. And then there was a group, two people with two dogs, one off leash, one on lead. The off leash dog though was pretty good. I mean, stayed on the path, didn't come over anything, and I walked away a little bit, made some more distance, and then I saw they were heading for me. They were turning off the path, walking towards me. I mean, it was an elderly boxer on the lead. And they probably thought, and sometimes, you get lots of people who are like this, like, oh, there's another dog, let's go and they can meet, right?
Yeah.
And I just put my hand up. I just kept playing with Stevie with the, she was tugging on her toy, and I just held up my hand, and they were really good. They just stopped, turned, and walked on. Because the moment you start talking to people, right, you're disengaging from your dog. So I didn't want to disengage from the puppy, and then what I want her to learn is, yeah, well, there are other dogs in the space, but it's none of your business, right?
Exactly that. Exactly that. I think you've made a really good point about being able to recall nice and early. Um, and always have that in your head is where you are in the environment that you're in that situation. Can you recall your dog?
Okay, and Chris and or Nikki was saying that thank you. I just happened that we met on a bend in the past that I do normally recall. Yeah. Okay, I
Yeah,
was also not trying to imply you did anything wrong. I think the point of the question was, should one hang around and let the dogs interact to see, so the dog can learn it's okay. And it's always dangerous. If we don't know the dog, we don't know how that interaction goes. And if it goes pear-shaped, the chance of it going wrong outweighs whatever good can come from the dogs interacting. I mean, look, I've been there and I've let my dogs interact because now we're in this space, the dogs met, and then I just move on. I don't hang around. I just move on. I keep it nice and short. They can do their little thing, and we walk on, right? But I try to avoid it. Okay, Camilla's got some really good tips. My space required vest has been brilliant and is well respected by others. Iris Iris says, I tend to watch my dog. I have learned when he is okay and when he's definitely worried, and we will walk away. So proud of you, Iris. Yeah, really good. And Alison says, we have recently taken to creating a physical barrier with our bodies between our dog and other dogs if she's unhappy. Good one. And then, yeah, this is Camilla's got a good one. Tell them your dog
like
has
that.
kennel cough. Hey,
I
watch
love
out.
that.
Yeah.
Blooming brilliant. I'm
And
so good
then
at that rather than my dog will bite, which has been my go-to.
yeah, well,
People really
exactly.
don't listen.
No, they don't.
I
They
know. I
don't.
probably need to learn to be more patient, to be honest.
So LG says, I love this. Once I learned to give Bodhi the support, space, and time he needed, things improved much more quickly. So perhaps the quick fix is to not be in a hurry.
Do you know what? That's a really
That's a
good
gem.
point.
That's a
A
gem.
really good point because if you're not, you don't put so much pressure on yourself, you don't put so much pressure on your dog, you're more relaxed, which makes them more relaxed. It's actually a really
Yeah.
good point that it's okay.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, it's always a multi-layered approach, and we always have to work at it from different angles,
Mm.
right? This is the thing. So now the the quick fix, it can go quickly, as Julia said, if you're able to create the confidence that we want to see in the dog, right? And if we're really aware, like some of you were sharing, how you're able to see and read and see the signals early, how your dog is feeling, that's super important. So we have to learn stuff. It's not just the dog that has to learn to cope, right? It's also us. We have to learn things. And the important thing for the dog to feel confident is that they have to feel safe, right? And that is something that a dog just they have to feel safe. What was that? Right? It's also
Mm.
how did Andrew help with it? You can't teach that. You can't teach the dog. Is that what it was? The dog just has to feel it.
Yeah.
I forget now. It was a really good line in the interview. So safety is something the dog has to experience and has to feel. So we have to set them up. And a big thing is to know what the triggers are and to be able to protect the dog from being exposed to the triggers. If we keep letting them go through that experience, you spoke to that already earlier, Julia, they keep
Mm.
just doing the same thing, and then it's not going to go away. And of course, we also, depending on where this happens, in order to build confidence and in order for the dog to really feel good, we have to make sure that it's also a big part of safety, right? Is that they are healthy, right? That
Yeah.
so what that there is any pain, that we have good nutrition, all those aspects. So it's really a holistic thing. We have to look at it from all these angles. And the moment we start dialing on all these a little bit on all these dials, dialing and turning, all these dials,
Hmm.
and making sure that there's enough enrichment and exercise, right? Then things do change. And they can actually change quite quickly.
Absolutely. They can do. And even though we're saying there's no quick fix, that's not to say you won't see some changes quickly, which are
Yeah,
different. Do you see the
yeah.
kind of a subtle difference, isn't it? Because I
And
think you do.
sometimes, and sometimes, with the things where management is really difficult, like you described that scenario, if you're living in a neighborhood surrounded by dogs and your dog reacts to dog barking, right? It's really difficult to manage. But there are things that one can do, and there are things, and we can figure out when is it the worst, and when does it affect the dog and us the most, and what, so once we really start focusing on it, there's always a way.
Yeah. I
There's
mean,
always a way.
Emily's put a comment in. Well, there's a few comments just to catch up. So Amanda said that her dogs wear muzzles. People still let their dogs come over. And you kind of sometimes you do think, actually, if I put my dog in a muzzle, even if I don't need to, it will keep other dogs away, but it doesn't always work that way. Um, LJ, relationship with the dog, foundation of everything, 100%. But Emily said, I need to work on my own fears and nervousness when we can encounter another dog, because probably my dog picks up on it. When I'm with our current trainer, I feel safe. Any suggestions for how to get past this when I'm alone with my dog? Maybe just more practice will help. I've only had a 6 months or so. Emily, yes, I think pretty much everybody watching this will totally relate to how that feels. Because even though sometimes, people seem like it's like a swan, isn't it? They seem really like cool, calm, and collected on the top, but everything's going on underneath and their heart's
Yeah,
going and they're palpitating. And
totally.
as Carmela said, it took you 2 years to get over it. And it does. It takes a while. And it's about it's partly having plenty of knowledge and being able to communicate with your dog, like we looked at last week in the challenge, or was it the week before? Lost track of time. But that and having that real sort of understanding of what exactly is going on in your dog and having that confidence, having some strategies that you know what to do regardless, before the situation, if there is a situation, how to deal with it, that kind of thing, and having that confidence. So a lot of it is about, and we talk about this a lot, training for the situation, not training in the situation. So making sure that you feel like you've got a toolbox. I would love, Emily, one day, and I know we've talked about this before, one day we're going to get you in one of our courses because we can go through this. Should I talk about armpits?
Well, yeah, I mean, armpits is one. Melting your armpits is one quick way of, getting a little bit of tension out of your body, but it's really important to have tools to manage, your own nervousness, and to
Exactly.
reframe what's going on, and to see why we tighten up, right?
Mm,
And again, just like everything that I said earlier about the holistic, multi-layered, right? Different things to do in order to feel less nervous. The same is true for the dog, to not be so reactive. The same is true for us and our fears and our nervousness and our tension. There's a bunch of things that work together. Being more confident, knowing what to do
mm.
is one part, but being able to assess the environment, being able to reframe, being able not to have these little movies run in our heads, like people are judging us and what are they thinking, and they're stopping and I want to chat, and if I don't
And the
stop
what
and I'm
ifs as
verbally
well.
engaged, then they think I'm rude,
Yeah.
etc., 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 right?
What if
So
my dog reacts? What if my dog then? manages to pull the lead away? What if they then go and chase the other dog and then there's a child? And, that's the sort of thing that I
Yeah,
know I
yeah, yeah.
used to do.
And there are lots of there are lots of layers that
Yeah,
help there. So yeah,
really.
so by all means, talk about the armpits. That's
Can I
one
ask everybody,
thing.
because Alison's used the armpits and she said it was very valuable. So I'm going to ask if everybody that's watching, whether it's live or on catch up, we're just going to do a little test of the armpit method so that you know what it feels like. So if you can and it's safe, it might help to close your eyes.
Please don't if
And
you
I would
can.
like you to imagine that your armpits are made of gold. So you have beautiful metallic golden armpits. And then you're going to imagine that that gold starts to melt. So it's getting softer and softer. You can feel it starting to run down your body. And I want you to just notice what's happening to your body when you're imagining that. So notice what's happening to your shoulders, to your arms, to your posture and your spine, what's happening there. And once you've done that, maybe you could pop in the comments what you felt happening when you melted your armpits physically. I know how I feel. It's quite difficult to put into words, actually. Well, Carmela, I've caught you up with the armpits. I'm just getting back up to date again. We've got this time lag thing now that goes on, which is so frustrating that we don't see the comments until.
It just says everything relaxes and my scalps get tingly.
Yes!
I can feel
Tension
how my
draining
shoulders go
away. Oh my
down,
God,
eh?
that's insane, says Carmela. So is, isn't it?
Better posture, tension draining away,
Yeah,
arms gone heavy, shoulders dropped. Yeah, I feel the shoulders drop
exactly.
too.
I just love it. We were taught this by a lady, she's in the member of the group actually, who I then met up with when I went to Crufts. She came and found me. It was so cool. And this kind of, what is it that she does? I can't remember what it's called, but she does all this kind of sort of physical, you know, dealing with how you're feeling through your physical body type stuff. And she taught us that one. And it's been the best one that I've ever known. Yeah. So Lorraine's working intentionally relaxing when Penny gets tense, armpits or whatever. Exactly. And that's all it is. It's just a method to get you to the same place and do your
Mm.
yoga breathing. Yeah. I love a bit of yoga. You do loads of yoga, don't you, Barbara?
Well, yeah.
Less so now.
At the moment, not, no. But
Yeah.
well, usually I do. Shall we have a look at our questions? We've got a
I
bunch
was
of
just
questions.
wondering, should we do our questions first or shall we do our competition first?
Yeah, first, we have to first announce that we have a giveaway. You see, I've forgotten about that.
Yes. So if you didn't see, we've got a little giveaway. Yay!
Sorry, Emily says the gold turned briefly to melted butter, but that was pretty good too. I cannot,
I
every
think
single
melted
time I
butter
do this, I
works.
think it's chocolate. And I was actually wondering if we should do it with chocolate. But then people probably feel like, oh no, this is making me tense. I'm just imagining all the sticky stuff.
Stickiness or the greasy stains or whatever. So
Yeah.
we had a thought, and what we want to do is we want to try and get more people coming along to the lives live rather than on catch up because we just think when you've got that opportunity to get involved in the conversation, you get so much more out of it. So the more people we get involved. So we thought, okay, let's start doing some giveaways so that the people that are with us live that make the lives what they are get something, tangible back from us. And
Mm.
so we're going to try and maybe not every live, but quite a lot of them, we'll be doing a little giveaway. Um,
Yeah.
I'll tell them what we're doing this time, what the plan was this time.
Yeah. So we're gonna raffle off our a seat in the enrichment class. We have an enrichment, a self-paced enrichment course. You guys in there already? That would be Great, of course, but if you're not, then you have a chance to win it.
So to be in with a chance,
Camila says, like all this free information isn't enough.
I know, I know. We're just mad. We like giving stuff away. It's kind of fun,
Yeah.
isn't it? So if you want to be entered into the raffle, then in the comments, you need to put a, what should we have? A,
How about people share a link to the group? Because then we have a double whammy. You get to win, and then somebody on your social who sees the link to the group can join and also benefit.
yeah. But I want people
How's
to
that?
actively put their emoji of a banana in the
Ah, okay.
comments,
So once
and
you've
then
done
I'll
it, once
enter
you've
you. And if
shared,
you share the group as well, even better.
yeah.
That would
So,
be super duper.
well, yeah, no, let's do it. So hang on, I need to find the
Oh,
link.
Donna, you're lovely. She says we rock, Barbara, which is actually true. We so do. Um, and you've begun to understand this healing journey, and that's exactly what it is. And that's the thing to understand first is that it's a healing journey. We have a banana.
Okay, here's the link.
Yeah,
Please do share and then
yeah,
with your
what a little bit of
banana.
a
My
mission.
goodness. Of all the fruit, you had to pick banana.
Well, I just the first one that came into my head.
Bananas never come into my head.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to, okay, you need to carry this for a bit while I put people into the drawer and I don't miss anybody.
Yeah. Okay, so shall I go what shall I do?
We can start talking maybe about the
Yay,
first
Camilla,
question.
you are amazing.
Oh,
Okay, so lots of bananas.
that was brilliant, isn't it?
Mm, lots of bananas. Okay. Shall we go to the questions in
Yeah,
the
why
meantime?
not?
So let me, of course, I closed them. Uh, sorry, guys. We might rock, but we kind of suck a little bit at this seamless
Emily,
structure.
don't worry. Always, if you write banana, I'm with you.
I lost the question and I'll open it. Oh, here we go.
Not pineapple today. Who is it? It's just written that. Yeah, Teresa said she thought she'd say pineapple. Great.
So we have a question from, are you actually ready for this?
Yeah.
So you can think. So a question from Haley about Bernie. He's a 2-year-old Bernese mountain dog, well named. And Haley rescued him around 4 months ago and has been working on his obedience. So she says, I need some advice with socialization. He's not aggressive, but he has high play drive. Play drive. When he sees
Okay.
other dogs behind a fence or out in public, he digs, barks, and jumps. Is there any way to combat this? Does anyone have any tips?
It's a
And
really good
with
question and one that comes up an
big,
awful lot, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. Do you want to go or do you want me to just go and talk to it?
Um,
Are you still
you
busy?
start because I've just come up with a spinny wheel idea, so
You
I'm
spinny wheel thing.
distracted.
Okay, so we can brainstorm this a little bit.
Yeah,
So
sure.
well, if you have um okay, there's some nice things in the I get distracted now by all these comments.
No,
Bananas are
it's so
dangerous, says
exciting.
Zoe. Camila says, I just like to say that I did worry about my dog's reactivity, but now I just see it as his method of telling me he's not okay. That has helped me to relax a bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
great.
Totally. I mean, look, I do realize that it doesn't solve it, right? And therefore, we still tense when it happens, absolutely, or worried about it. But it's definitely crucial. It's like a paradigm shift once we know. So
Exactly.
you're amazing, Camilla.
Yeah.
You
So,
share, okay, don't worry, Emily, that's perfect. That's just perfect. Okay, so to get back to Bernie, and if you guys have some ideas, what is going on with Bernie? Um, he sees other dogs behind a fence out in public, digs, barks, and jumps. So the thing is, people just, dogs, same thing, right? Um, the more socialization, yes, but not socialization in the sense let Bernie play with other dogs because he already wants that. He already has huge value. He wants to go over and see the dogs. So if we now go and let him play with lots of dogs, he'll want it even more. It's like um, feeding the sugar craving, right? The more sugar you eat, the more you need it, and so on. So what you really want in the end is for Bernie to be able to say, well, okay, there are dogs there. And I don't mind them. And the frustration, the reactivity becomes, or the reactions become so strong because the dog wants something, can't have it. He's on a lead or he's behind a fence or whatever, and then the emotions get really, really strong. So you do want him to see other dogs, but you don't want him to be exposed to other dogs in that way, and you also don't want him to have just free play with other dogs. Look, it's not that I'm saying he can never play with dogs, but you want that to be safely with dogs and owners that you know, etc., etc. And this is not what will fix this. This is just nice. It's just nice if we can to have healthy dog on dog encounters, but it's not the important part here. The important part is for to work with Bernie and at a distance from other dogs in a
yeah,
way that he can learn, okay, they're just gray noise.
yeah. And just make sure as well, because with dogs like that, that sometimes they just get into their head that they need to say hello to everybody. And we need to help them learn that they can't. And actually engaging with you, as Barbara said, is often going to be a more appropriate behavior and way to work with that.
Mm. There's some
Absolutely.
super suggestions in the
Yeah,
chat. Mars says work on skills at home. Once he has aced them in that environment, do them when out in the world. Totally. Yeah. So you want to
absolutely.
have a little repertoire of easy games. So with Falcon, he would lose it when he saw other dogs on our walks. I mean, I did a bunch of things, but something that he was really loved was high fives. With every dog, there is like a trick that suddenly they want to do all the time. With Steve, it's definitely hand targets, and lately reinforcement zone. We work a lot on because I'm teaching her to walk nicely on the lead, obviously. So things like that. She is also a great tugger out, and that helps a lot, to channel the excitement. If you have a dog that can, that loves to tug, although if the other dogs are near, 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 that can work things out of proportions. It doesn't work for everyone and every dog. But, something, little trick, paws up,
Yeah,
random sits and downs, just fun games, middle, something that you can ask them to do at a distance.
yeah. And it's a
And
joyful thing to
if they
do.
can do it at home first, put lots of value in it so they love to do it, and then you can work on it in those environments, as Mars says, and at a distance where the dog can actually do it,
Yeah.
right?
I
If they
mean, I
can't, if you have to nag them, then that's not,
yeah, they're not there.
yeah.
And when you're working at home, you kind of want them to be able to do it anywhere at home, try different
Mm,
locations in the house, not the same
yeah.
place all the time. If you've got a garden or a yard, can they do it there? What about sort of just before you're about to go out the front door? Can they do it there? So those are kind of different ways of building it up a little bit so you can kind of get over that little hump
Yeah.
between home and the real world.
Yeah. And
Yes,
Donna says, I've learned when my boy reacts boisterously, I redirect him and do not correct him, reassure him
absolutely.
verbally and carry on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because, there's no
100%.
need to correct them. They're not. they're not
They're not doing
bad.
anything wrong.
Yeah,
They're just
that's
being.
yes, totally. Cool. Thank you so much for the question about the lovely Bernie.
Should we
And
have
then we have
a look at Amanda's question? I think I've seen Amanda on live. Give us a wave if
mm,
you're there. Because this one really got me right in the heart, actually. Last night, an idiot threw a firework at Sherney while he was on a walk. He was fine physically. Thank God for that. He's now jumping at every little sound. Not a surprise. Tonight, which was last night, is fireworks night in the UK. Um, we already have a dog who's petrified of fireworks. How do you help Shirley to deal with this new trigger? Now, obviously, we didn't do this before last night, so I apologize for that. You and I, Amanda, both know that it's probably going to be quite tough again Friday, Saturday night this week. Plus, people on the other side, in the US have got Thanksgiving. We've got, we've just had Diwali, so we should be okay for that. But we've got the whole holiday season, New Year, all that kind of stuff. So fireworks are going to become a bit of a thing. And actually, today I was writing all about fireworks, which will go into the group next week. And it was basically about what I was writing was about, those people on your local Facebook group that tell people that say that their dogs are scared of fireworks, that actually these people just aren't trying. They need to train their dogs better because they once knew somebody down the pub who had a dog who wasn't scared of fireworks. And it's not that simple. And what you've shown here, Amanda, is one of the causes, which is an incident that happens that's horrible, that creates that fear. With some dogs, there have been studies to show that there are some dogs that, some breeds of dogs and some individual dogs who are more genetically predisposed to have a noise sensitivity. So there's all that. There's things like pain and discomfort that then add in that to that as well. So there's all sorts going on. So what do you do about it? And that's a great question. Well, there are some long-term solutions, well, not necessarily solutions, but things that can help. And then there are things that you can do at the time. Okay. And again, as always, it's very individual to the individual dog. So there's not going to be a one size fits all. So sometimes doing things like playing sounds of fireworks really super low while you're doing some training with your dog can help, and then really gradually increase the volume. Now, the issue with that for some dogs is that they know it's not the same. Um, so, it might not be as effective as you'd like it to be. But, that's the kind of thing that you can start doing. And I would be doing that now. And, anyway, I probably wouldn't do it straight away. You'd want to wait for your dog for that cortisol level to go back down again. So you need a good 3 days clear with no fireworks before you started doing anything so that they're not kind of totally on edge. The things that I would do now you've had the incident, are having a lot of decompression time. So I'd be thinking about, are my walks going to feel stressful for my dog? If they are, miss the walk, do some enrichment, do something else instead. What other things can I get my dog to do that are naturally going to help them to calm down? So things like a nice meaty bone or a natural chew or something, lick mat or a topple or something to lick, some sniffing games, scent work, those kinds of things. They're all natural decompressors for our dogs. So those can be quite nice things to do. But make sure it's stuff that your dog likes because again, they're super different. Actually, in the moment, there are some fairly generic things to do, like have some sort of other noise on, to try and deaden the sound. Doors, windows closed, curtains closed, all that kind of stuff as well. Um, sometimes having the TV on with voices on or having, classical music can help. Taiko drums, which are Japanese drums, are quite good at kind of mingling out the sound. Another really cool tip is if you've got one of those, the box fans, so the ones that are on a stand, those sorts of fans. If you get one of those and start by putting it on low because it's going to be different and new for your dog, and aim it for the wall initially, But what that will do is it gets the air moving and that disrupts some of the sound waves as well. So that can help a little bit as well. So that's another idea. It also gives you that whirry, almost white noisy whirry sound that you get with it. But in terms of how your dog copes and how you react, the answer is what's right depends on the dog.
Mm.
Um, my two dogs are very different with how they behave. So Dash, um, when he hears fireworks, he will come right next to me and he'll press up against me wherever I am. He wants that touch and he wants to feel that kind of pressure. And he's a dog for whom things like, the T-touch wraps, the pressure bandages can work quite well, or thunder shirts. Hattie, it doesn't work so well because she's a dog that prefers to take herself away. So she'll take herself away and then pop out and want you to make a fuss of her and then take herself away again. And she likes to do hide in her crate with the covers over it and feel safe there. There are other dogs that want to be high up um, when this sort of thing happens, which doesn't feel quite so natural, but it's true. There are some dogs that want to do that. So it's about your dog being allowed to do whatever feels right for them. And you kind of being there as the trusted person, so they have the choice to get that reassurance if they want to. But don't, if they go and hide themselves away, that's fine. Let them do that in the moment. What would you add to it, Dr. P?
Well, um, that's all really fabulous stuff. I think um, the thing is, once we have a dog, and in fact, Amanda said that already. So the firework or the thunder fear can, often also manifest in other contexts. So suddenly we have
Totally.
hammering or a nail gun or things like that. So we have to be a little aware of what's going on for our dogs and plan ahead of time um, and maybe play games. Um, uh, if you know that it's firework and we can play games. You can do all the things that you described, and if the dog wants to hide, the dog wants to hide. But if it's possible, then we
Yeah.
can be, scent work might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Or letting them shred stuff, bring out, collect all the toilet roll inners and put, make little puppy ball bombs,
Good
like Susan
idea.
says, and so on. So yeah, um, and then the long term, like as you said, the long term, you can try um and work on changing how they feel about certain noises, but that is something that you want to be careful of. Not
Yeah.
as in don't do it, but you want to do it gradually and slowly and not
Absolutely.
like next
And
week
you
there will be
probably would
fireworks.
want to look at a kind of a more over view of a noise reactivity kind of work, because as you
Mm,
say, there's going to be other noises as well.
mm,
I
yeah.
remember when Hattie, we first had her, and it was all anything that went bang. It from a twig snapping that would completely freak her out. So
Mm.
yeah, it's having that kind of
Yeah, Emma
overall
also used
view.
to
Mm,
be
super.
really, yeah.
Shall I
Mm.
do the draw? Can I do the draw? Can I do the draw? Can
Of
I
course
show
you can do the
everybody
draw.
my wheel that I've made? Because I'm quite pleased. Well, I thought then everyone can watch and they can see it being drawn, and then you know that I'm not cheating. Here we are. So here
Yeah.
is the wheel of names. All the people that entered.
Oh my
Can you,
goodness, you're
do
amazing.
you love it? Do you love
I do love it.
it? So let's go and see who's the winner.
Are you excited, guys? Hold your hold. Oh, oh,
Ben,
oh,
you are
Ben.
our winner.
Woohoo!
Well done, Barrett. What we'll do is we'll just add you in to the course and I hope you enjoy it. Love their
Ta-da!
fanciness.
Congratulations. Yeah, send us an email, then.
Woohoo! So yeah, and the other thing that I thought might be kind of cool is if you know people in the group, um, perhaps, in our lives, you tag them so that they get the opportunity to come along because, life
Ah,
gets in the way. That might be quite cool. You'd speak to them and say, do you want me to tag you in the lives? Help each other out a little bit. So, because I forget things otherwise, if it's me.
okay. Cool. That was great.
Super.
I enjoyed the wheel.
Did you like it? Good. I'm glad. I'll do that next time as well. That'll be fun.
Cool. Super. Yeah. Okay. So
Oh, Berit, could you do us a favor and drop us a quick email to contact at barkinguptherighttree.com? I'll put that in.
yeah,
Oh,
you
Zoe's
better.
with
So
me.
many dashes in there.
I know. We didn't think that through. Up the, just so that we've got your correct email to put into to enroll into the course because we need an email and then it will send you a link so you can get into it.
Awesome. There we
Super
go.
duper.
Thanks so
So
much, everyone,
we'll
for
see you same time
showing.
next week.
Yeah.
And
Have
we'll
a
come up
lovely
with
rest of
another
your day.
fabulous
Lovely
giveaway.
evening, those of you in the UK.
Mm. So yeah, thank you for taking part. It's been brilliant.
Bye.
We'll see you next time.
Yay.
A pleasure. See you soon. Take care.